Dear colleagues, my name is Professor Natalia Linkova. I am the scientific research and head of the laboratory of St. Petersburg Institute of Bioregulation and Gerontology. I am the consultant of Peptides company. The theme of my lecture now is prospects for using peptide bioregulators for the prevention and therapy of COVID-19. Problems with patients with COVID-19 is cytokine storm, disorders in the T cells of immunity, and increased C-reactive protein, interleukin-6, D-dimer, ferritin in the blood. Peptide immunoprotectors normalize function of the immune system and hemostasis. It may be recommended as an additional therapy for the treatment of patients with COVID-19. So, peptides bioregulators, immunoprotectors. The main peptides is Vladonix. It's complex of immunomodulatory peptides, which is isolated from the thymus of cattle and belongs to the group of cytomidins. It's produced in the form of dietary supplements, capsules, and drops under the tongue. Its analog in the form of a drug is Timalin. Timagen is the peptide, the immunomodulating drug, the active component of Vladonix, and Timalin, the part of the composition. Vilon is the peptide, immunomodulator, the active component of Vladonix and Timalin. Cristagen is the EDP tripeptide immunomodulator available in the form of the dietary supplements as capsules and drops under the tongue. Cristagen regulate B cells activity and Vilon and Timagen mostly regulate T cells. Vladonix has an effect on all parts of the immune system, regulates the number and ratio of T and B lymphocytes and their subpopulation, stimulates cellular immune responses, enhances phagocytosis, activates the processes of regeneration and hemopoiesis in cause of the inhibition, improves cellular metabolism, normalizes blood clotting. The use of Vladonix in acute respiratory viral infection is safe, effective, and can be prescribed without prior immunogram. So we have some complexes peptide bioregulations for immunity. Epitalon is IADG tetrapeptide and the active principle of the pineal gland polypeptide complex, endolutein. Endolutein is the complex of peptides which is isolated from the pineal gland of cattle and belongs to the cytomidins group. Endolutein is a regulator of functions of the neuroimmune endocrine system, which is produced in the form of dietary supplements, capsules, and drops under the tongue. So, epitalon is included in Revilap ML and Revilap SL products. COVID-19 is one of the serious complications which can disrupt the immune homeostasis and the formation of blood clots. This pathology often leads to the formation of blood clots and ischemia of the heart, brain, retina, and disruption of the blood supply to the extremities. Peptide bioregulators Revilap, SL, and ML normalize hemostasis and prevent the formation of blood clots. I can tell you about the mechanism of immunoprotective action of Vladonix and short peptides in its composition. Timagen peptide regulates the expression of mitochondrial genes and genes which encode proteins related to cell defense system. Vilon peptide regulates the expression of genes responsible for cell division, cell structure, and metabolism. In this peptide, there are genes regulation of sirtuin-6 and interleukin-2, which can play a role in aging of immune system. Cristagen EDP3 peptide regulates the expression of genes encoding proteins responsible for adaptive process in the cells. This is HSP, heat shock proteins genes, and interleukin 6 gene, which play a key role in coronavirus infection development. On this slide, you can see the computer model of the interaction of the Ka peptide with DNA nucleotide sequence thymine, guanine, cytosine, adenine. The interaction of Ka peptides with DNA was analyzed by using the Aquabridge software, modulate integrated in the ICM-Prof software package, taking into account the hydration of this complex. 7 water molecules participate in the formation of DNA peptide complex, of which 2 molecules form hydrogen bonds with the peptide, stabilizing its conformation in the DNK region. So, the therapeutic effect of the thymus polypeptide complex Vladonix and short peptides in its compound, thymogen, belon, cristagen, during COVID-19 is based on the regulation of gene expression and cytokine synthesis by blood mononuclear cells. We can see the preventive efficiency of the thymus polypeptide complex in combination with vaccine preparation. For the first time in 1987 at the Kirov Military Institute of Medicine in St. Petersburg, Russia, the effectiveness of thymus polypeptide complex was evaluated by the severity of the human body's immune response to the administration of inactivated influenza vaccines. 805 people, the experimental group, and more than 1,000 people is the control group. Polypeptide complex was administered 3 days before vaccination. So we can see some results. The number of days of work loss decreased by 4.8 times in 3 months. The incidence of sore throats was 36% less. The incidence of pneumonia decreased by 2.5 times. The frequency of protected and complicated forms of acute respiratory viral infection decreased by 3.6 times. So on this slide we can see the effectiveness of polypeptide thymic complex in complex therapy of COVID-19 in elderly patients in hospitals. The use of polypeptide complex in the complex therapy of COVID-19 can normalize the immune system parameters in elderly people. Standard therapy did not have the same effect on the number of different immune cells subpopulations. So we can see that polypeptide complex of thymus normalize the number of lymphocytes including CD3 positive cells and CD4 positive cells. So, polypeptide complex of thymus decrease the concentration of interleukin 6 in the blood. It is the main point in pathogenesis of coronavirus infection. Also, we can see that thymolin in complex therapy of coronavirus infection normalize the number of eosinophils, basophils, monocytes, platelets, thrombocrit, and other immune parameters in comparison with the control group. The standard treatment has no these positive effects. After that, we measure the biochemical and hematological parameters of peripheral blood in patients with COVID-19 after using polypeptide complex of thymus. We can see that using polypeptide complex of thymus normalize fibrinogen concentration, ferritin concentration, and prothrombin time. And the standard treatment has no this effect. Also, the level of immunoglobulin G antibodies to coronavirus was in 4.25 times higher after 2000 days of course of standard therapy with polypeptide complex. And only standard therapy has no this effect. The index of immunoglobulin G antibodies in standard therapy decrease very fast, and this patient has no protective after coronavirus. Although a statistically significant difference was related in generalized effect of using polypeptide complex of thymus in immunodeficient states from the zero effect. The size of the effect from the use of polypeptide stemic complex in immunodeficient states as a means of increasing the level of T lymphocytes was interpreted as classified as large or produced effect. So we can do some conclusions. The thymus polypeptide complex dietary supplement Vladonix is effective in the complex therapy of various acute respiratory viral infections, including COVID-19 and influenza. This is confirmed by the data from clinical and molecular biological studies published in scientific articles and meta-analysis in Russian and European journals. The mechanism of action of the thymus polypeptide complex is based on the immunoprotective effect of its acute components EVD peptide, KED peptide, and cristagen EDP3 peptide. Those peptides are able to bind the promoter zones of genes in DNA and regulate the expression and synthesis of proteins of immunogenesis. So we have the scheme of the use of peptide and non-peptide bioregulators for the prevention and complex therapy of COVID-19 and other acute respiratory viral infection. We can recommend the use of Vladonix, cristagen, and Hangluten 1-2 capsules in the morning. Revelap SL03 8-20 drops under the tongue in the morning, Alvinorm Forte 1 teaspoon 2 times a day, and Rinalax nasal balm every time upon contact with a virus carrier or 2 times a day. You can use this scheme for the entry-epidemic period from 1 to 3 months. Thank you for your attention.